back in just a moment. So when you opened up the RDP environment, it was just a tab on your browser, right? So click to that jump host. And then if you could do me a favor, if you could double click on the Teams icon, okay? And we're going to be doing this in sections. So just kind of give you an idea of Microsoft Teams and where it came from. You know, Teams is a truly collaborative experience. And today we're going to be challenging you to think a little bit differently than you have done in the past around communication. So in the past 5 years, we've seen this fourth industrial revolution where, you know, now we're seeing self-driving cars. You know, we're seeing, you know, rockets that are going to the moon, but then landing back on moving barges in the ocean. Just think of like the calculations that have to happen to have that. We've also seen like Microsoft in the forefront, right, of, you know, the innovation. And, you know, Microsoft Office is no longer the Office of old. You know, it's not you buy one copy, you get 5 programs. Office now comes with probably 25 new applications. So they keep innovating. And they just, you know, it's hard to keep up. You know, 5 years ago, most people knew about 36% of what, let's say, Outlook could do, Excel could do, PowerPoint. You knew the buttons, about 36% of them, right? We know in a lot of, like, if you open up an Excel spreadsheet, I knew like 10% of the buttons, right? So you knew that. But today, you know about 4% of the ability of what Microsoft can do. And I think the idea behind Teams, just to conceptualize this for you, is based on how do we move into tomorrow and communicate more effectively? How do we actually become, you know, more or use our time wisely, right? Be more present, and in this day and age, you know, be able to work, you know, in an environment where we're not all working together, right? So that's the whole COVID thing, right? With these issues. We're also finding that in these trying times, because we no longer have that ability to get up and walk to the water cooler or go out to lunch or, you know, go, a lot of times if you're in sales or marketing or, you know, in different departments, you'd be able to go for an appointment, right? So what we're finding these days is actually there's a bit of a fatigue that's going on, right? With how many calls that you're doing and going back and forth. The other thing that we're also noticing is that you know, the way that people have made new apps to make everything work better, faster, quicker, right? There's an explosion of apps that help you make, is creating almost like adult attention deficit disorder, right? Because now you're clicking through all these different, you know, programs all the time. Where did I put this? Where did I put that? You know, next, you know, you have email creep, right? And what I mean by that is when you know, email 20 years ago was great because it replaced snail mail. That was awesome. And when people used it correctly in the long form, it was amazing. However, in the past 20 years, it hasn't evolved. And people are now using email for messages, right? Just quick messages, but using email for attachments, as a place to store files, or using email to assign tasks. And those things are causing that one form of communication to become kind of, you know, overly redundant and kind of a waste of time. And it's hard to find things. It's hard to search for things. You're not working on the same projects. You know, the other thing to kind of just, you know, kind of socialize here when you're thinking about Microsoft or thinking about files and how you did work in the past is file management. Now, I'm going to raise my hand and say I'm horrible at file management because I'm sitting there, I create a new document. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I create a new folder because I'm like, yeah, this is a great place to put it. And then I put it in that folder. And then 2 days later, I forgot this super great, awesome place where it is, right? So we don't have that. We don't really have a true sense of collaboration where we can control versions, you know, of documents. And a lot of times you need to share a version with a group of people. There's a lot more meetings in groups. And in the past, it just really is a problem with that, right? How do we do that? How do we share that? Also sharing notes, really big problem. Like, how do we, you know, who's the note taker? Who's the scribe? That's the way of doing business in the past. But now we can have everybody be the scribe at the same time and have those notes immediately available as soon as the meeting's over, right? So it's you know, today, and the reason why we're going through this is to challenge the way that you think, challenge the way that you communicate, and hopefully show you a better way to do that, right? A more efficient way, a more present way of doing that, and reduce, the frustration of collaboration on specific things. So that's the introduction. This is going to be fun. It's crazy. So let's go ahead and just do a tour of the Azure portal first, so that we really kind of know what's what, where's where, and what should we do to how to set things up. So the very first thing we're going to do, I'm going to have you see my cursor. It's kind of floating around. We're going to go to the top right-hand corner, and we're going to move left, and then we're going to go down. Okay, so on the top right-hand corner, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and click on your settings, or actually click on the picture that you have there. So you have this picture, and that's who you are today. So my name is Diego Siciliani. Okay, so remember that. Remember who you are. Okay. Here you have the presence indicator. Now, the reason why I'm going to talk to you is I want to help you understand a best practice, okay, to actually do this. And the best practice is you need to put together a policy that's sent out to all of your employees saying, look, available green means ping me, call me, talk to me, ask me a question, okay? Busy means the person is indicating that they are actually busy working on something. So they're trying to be more productive. So don't ping people. It's like a best practice. Don't do that. Wait till they're off of busy, and then put available, then send them. Do not disturb is great because it actually comes on when you're presenting. And if you're presenting, it'll automatically be do not disturb. All messages are actually kind of paused and then sent to you when you turn off your do not disturb function. Now, the be right back and appear away, that's usually used when your fellow colleagues don't adhere to busy, don't adhere to do not disturb. Some people are like that. So what I'll do is sometimes is actually put on the be right back or appear away, because I'm like, geez, I can't, I want to work on that, right? So then you can also do this. You can set a status message. So it could be like, out of office, right? Out of office, call my boss, Megan Bowen. Okay. So what's going to be interesting about that is every time somebody sees me or looks at me, they're going to have that, and then show when people message me here, and you can push done. So now everybody's going to see that message, out of office, call my boss, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Next thing I want you to touch on is the settings. So you click on settings. The reason why I'm going to show you this, right, is you have dark setting, right? You can change it if you want a contrast mode, or if you want to get really aggressive. That just, I don't know. I like the default view. But one thing I want to show you that is going to be important to make your team's experience go smoothly is this little thing here. It says disable GPU hardware acceleration. Okay. What that's going to do is help your video render quicker and better. If you're having problems with connecting or rendering, disabling the GPU hardware acceleration will actually help you. You have to restart Teams. We're not going to do it for this environment. Okay. So let's go ahead and then click out of that. So just a nice little X. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is this search bar. So right on the very top of your Teams is a search bar. It's actually one of the best things available, that it has here, and I use it all the time. So Teams is going to be a repository for a lot of things you're working on with other people, right? You might be looking for people, files, folders, items. So what I want you to do, I want you to click on the middle of it, right? And then I want you to type in marketing, okay? Marketing. Then I want you to push enter. Okay, so now when everyone's here at marketing, okay, they're going to see anybody who sent me a message in marketing. So I can click on Nestor Wilkie. Oh, that's right. It had marketing in it. Okay, thank you very much. Next, we can click on this little people icon. I want you to click on the people icon. Now, if you're in a big organization, let's say 100 people, 200 people, and you're in marketing and you want to know who the salesperson is, or you're a salesperson, want to know who marketing is, when you put in that marketing idea, and in Contoso we don't have any, but what would come up was anybody who had marketing in their title would be right in here. Okay, so that's the second explanation. Now, the third explanation is maybe you're looking for a file that you recently worked on. Now, how cool is this? As it searches all of Teams, which basically sits on SharePoint, and it searches all of them. So you can be like, oh yeah, that's right. We were just working on the name of it was International Marketing Campaigns. So you can literally click on it, And then what it's going to do is it's going to actually open that document that you were working on. So cool, right? Okay, now I got that. So that is basically the search function, and you can type in anything in there, right? We can put in sales, right? And then we have all of our files in sales. See if there's any salespeople. Nope. Excuse me. And then you have your people who had sales in it with the messages. All right. So with that being said,
have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
Question is, does it only search Teams for files? From Rebecca.
Yes. So everything that's going to be in Teams is going to search. However, if you if you connect to your SharePoint site and the folders in the SharePoint site, it will then search all of those folders, whatever's connected or inside of Teams. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Good question too. Okay, so now we're on sales. We're just going to clear that out. Now I want you to touch on to this little pencil inside of this little paper. Okay, what that means is that's how you actually create a chat with somebody, a new chat with somebody. We're going to go into this in more detail later, but I just want to make sure you understood that is where you do a new chat. Okay. Now to the left of that, you have these little arrows. Now these actually work much like the back and forward arrows on your browser. I love it because sometimes I'll be working in a document and then I click out of it to another Teams, whatever, and I'm like, darn it, where is that document, right? So literally, if you just choose the back arrow, okay, it's going to go back a few times, marketing, and then, oh, there was the actual document. See, the document. All right, so I can go to that document. So that's kind of cool, right? Left-hand side. Okay. So now let's look at the command bar. Okay, we're still doing the tour. So activity, what we're gonna do today is go through these 5 different sections: activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calls, files, and then I want to just quickly touch on. See these little 3 dots? We call those ellipses. Okay. Now, what the ellipses means is that we can actually add. We'll be able to add. A different application. For these purposes, we're not going to right now. Okay, so after that, there's more apps, and then in the very bottom left-hand corner, this thing called Download Mobile App. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have the mobile app, you really need to download it like today. It actually works better than this actual environment here. It's amazing. Plus, you now can make calls anytime anywhere you are outside of that. So that's where the actual mobile app is. Okay, so I'm going to pause here, and if everybody can go to the chat window in our Teams environment and just say, I got it, or we're here, I'm ready to go to the next actual stage. That'd be fantastic. So Brian's good. Let's go. All right, Rebecca's good. May the force be with you. Joe Foose, yes, okay. Perfect. All right, let's get into it. So our very first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on activity. So please click on activity. Now you're probably wondering, why are we clicking on activity? So this is going to be your new habit. Starting tomorrow, the first thing you ever do is you click on the activity button. And why? So what is the why to this? Because what did you miss while you were gone? When you're outside of the Teams environment, there are people that are posting messages, adding you to Teams, putting files in. And basically what activity is doing is basically saying, hey, I want to look at everything that has happened while I was gone that mentioned me. So when you click on it, you're going to see a bunch of stuff in here. And as you can see, I have things in bold. That means I did not read them. So I can click on that. And now it says, okay, I was mentioned. That's where my name is. Okay, they're putting a new meetings thing, right? So you can kind of go through, and this is just what you do. It's like reading the sports page in the morning. You're just trying to make sure that you know what has happened while you were gone and why, and then you can then, respond quickly to the things that are coming about for you. So that's where it is. The one thing to note too is that you must turn on notifications inside of your Teams for it to actually come up here. There's some default settings that kind of come, but when you create new Teams, you want to make sure that you have default notifications set. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause and see if there's any questions around activity, which really shouldn't be, because it's really just more of an explanation. But do you have, are there any questions? Great. Okay, let's get this going then. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is getting back to where was I there? There's the environment. Okay, so we're in the environment. Great. All right, let's go ahead and click on chat. So let's go ahead and click on the actual chat icon on the left-hand side. And if you could do me a favor, so when you click on chat, there should be a new group renamer tab. I want you to send me a chat window. So just type in here. You can just type in the first few letters of the person's name. So in my case, it'd be Diego, but I can't dial my own name. So I'm going to put in Alan, right? Alan DeYoung, okay? And there I'm going to have an actual message. I'm going to send the message to him and saying, hello, okay? So if you need it, if you can click on the chat window, or you can click on the top left-hand corner, which is the, all right, so Alan said hello back. So if I can get the rest of the folks to please send me a chat. My name is Diego Siciliani, and you can do that. You can also, when you're in this chat window, do Control or Shift A, and that'll give you a list of all the people that are on. And my name is Diego once again. So, okay, so Christy Klein. Hey, all right, Christy, good job. Okay, hello, okay. So if the folks on the we're just going to wait here for a second while you send a chat to me. My name is Diego Siciliani. So Grady, okay, Christy Klein, Alan DeYoung. Okay, who are we missing here? Alex Wilbur. Thank you, Alex. And as you can see here, when people send me a message, it comes a little notification. So, okay. All right, so for example, what we're doing here, okay, there's Grady. All right, perfect. All right. So now what we're doing here, I'm going to show you something that's really neat about this, is there's group conversations. So in the past, we only did, one-on-one type of conversations and through chat or through email. And sometimes it was in a conversation, so just got so many people got to it. But what we're going to do now is instead of doing just one-to-one, I'm adding everybody to the chat. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and send everybody. Hey there, please confirm you're on here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put that. Oh, Isaiah's there. Oh, this is actually really good. Okay, so and if everyone can respond to that group chat, that'd be awesome. But we actually had a new scenario. Okay, so Isaiah came right to this, and we want to add Isaiah, right? So basically, what you would do, okay, is you'd go over to the top right-hand corner, and do you see those little people? You can click on that, right? And then you can go to add people, because I want to add Isaiah to it. Isaiah. But then we want to also think, well, do we want to include all the chat history? Yeah, we'll just put it all because we like Isaiah. Good person. Okay. Yes, Wen, you're doing it great. Good job, Wen. Okay, all right. Now we added Isaiah. So now we're in this group chat. Super awesome. So now we're here. So now let's take a look at the tour of the chat. What's awesome about it. So in here, we're showing things. So on the bottom, underneath your type a new message, you have a bunch of buttons here that are really pretty awesome. So the very first one is the format. So let's say we want to put hello, company, party, picnic, right? And what we can do here, if you really want to get fancy with it, we can format, the actual information that we are putting into the message, right? And then we can go ahead and push send. So as you can see here, this is a little bit different, right? It's formatted. So that's our first one. Now our next one is the bang icon. Okay, now this is what's called the importance. So let's say we want to make our next message urgent. So we can click on here, important or urgent. I want you to do urgent, and then type in, hey there, call me now. Okay. So now what I want you to do is go down to this bang icon on the bottom left, underneath the type, and I want you to type in a message and then click on the bang icon and make it urgent, and then push send. So we'll wait a few minutes to click on the bang icon.
So Sherman, it's Rob. Whilst folks are doing that, I come from my previous gig was very much a Zoom and Slack business. One of the annoyances I had with Slack, and this may have changed in the last 4 months, was that if I had a direct message or a chat with a group of people, it wasn't possible to add people to it, nor could they be removed. And I think one of the cool things with what you just demoed on a Teams group chat is the ability to add people to it, to expose some history on them, and then if necessary, remove them from that group message. So it's a great way to bring people into a conversation, which is what we do in real life, right? If we have a meeting and we need to get someone's opinion about something, we can bring them in, then they leave. Just wanted to sort of call it out because I know there are a few folks who are using Slack. I think it's pretty cool.
That is cool. That is a great tip. That is really fantastic. Thank you very much for that. All right, so we all did the urgent. That's great. Now what I want you to do is click on this attach icon. And what's going to come up is you can attach files to this. I'm going to give you a pro tip. You really don't want to upload files you're working on with people inside of the chat. That's probably the wrong place to put it because it's hard to find it. But in the event that you really got to show it, you can just click on OneDrive. And I want you to, when you click on OneDrive, just pick any one of these and go ahead and share. And then what's going to happen is we'll be able to type in a new message. Here is the TPS report. Okay. And I can push enter. So now what's happening here is I'm attaching an actual file that we could all click on while we're in the same chat if we wanted to. So very good. Okay, Christy, all right, nice feature. There we go. So we can attach this. But remember, pro tip is we want to be a little careful when we do this because we want to make sure that we put this in the right place inside of Teams, have a conversation inside of a team so we know where that is. But all right, Alan, Alex, Christy, perfect. We're good to go here. All right, so while the rest of us are doing it, we're going to go to this next one, which is the emoji icon. And when I was at Microsoft, they didn't like us using this very much. They're a little too conservative for the first month, but then they figured out, hey, this actually makes people a little bit happier. So we can click on the emoji icon, right? We can click on the GIFs, which are pretty cool. They actually do lighten up meetings sometimes, with that. But I think one of the coolest features is this next one, which is the the calendar icon. Because let's say I'm sitting with you and I'm like, okay, guys or gals, I'm going to go ahead and and we need to do a meeting about this. So I'm going to click on this little calendar with plus icon, and look how cool this is. It takes everybody in the chat and automatically puts it into the to section, right? So we got a title, so group chat sync, right? And then we can actually put it inside of a channel because I want to kind of move this. I'm going to put it into a channel and I'm going to put it into Contoso General, okay? Meaning that this is where the meeting is going to happen. I push send, perfect. Now everybody now has that ability to get into that meeting. Okay, so Christy Klein says that. Yeah, the other one too, there's a sticker function right next to the calendar that you can actually change. Great job, CIE team. Okay, so I can change the actual wording on it to say, great job CIE team. See that wasn't, stock, right? They don't have that in stock. So that was kind of neat there too. All right, so there's another function that, let's on the top left-hand corner, you see this one? It says you can actually change, we renamed this to please don't vote for Trump. So we're getting political here today. That's okay. That's okay. The beauty about America is that we have the right to our own opinions, right? And that's one of our amendments, right? So yeah, we can change the actual name of the group up here, which is kind of cool. But let's say let's jump on a call. This texting is getting ridiculous. Okay, so what we can do, is we can go over here to this call icon. So I'm going to click on the call, and I'm going to allow access. No, cancel. I'm going to cancel that. That's right, cancel. And what it's going to do, it's bringing me into this meeting, but right now it's calling everyone that is in that chat into this. So yeah, and then push cancel when you get that error or that access message. So now we're in this thing, and now we can collaborate. Because we're in this RDP environment, we don't have the video and the mic, right? But cool. Alan even declined it. He told us he declined. And we can invite other people in here. Alex Wilbur, right? We can bring them, or people who left. So let's go ahead and leave this. So now we're out of the actual call. Okay, so let me exit that. Now, Isaiah just sent me an urgent message. Hello. Okay, I'm going to send him hello. Hey, Diego. Hi, Grady. Okay, so cool thing. Pro tip, these messages are never deleted. So in your SharePoint in the back end, you should put a policy that archives them, but you can always find your chat window. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause. And since we're already in this Teams environment, you don't have to switch to our actual call. Just go ahead and tell me in the group chat that you're good to go to the explanation of Teams. Okay. All right, so very good. So let's get into Teams. So let's everybody click on Teams. Okay, so let's talk about what Teams is, what it is. So a team, and we're going to start with the first team that you'll always create in any environment is your company. Okay, that's going to be your team. And as we can see here, it's Contoso. That's our company, right? And what this means is our team is going to be the group of resources. So we start with a company, and what we do is we have a team. And what happens is you always get a general tab that always comes with every team that you create. And inside general is used to make announcements to everybody who's in the team. So it's kind of a chat thing, but it's group chat with everybody in the team, okay? Any post. So as you can see here, when you clicked on the general, remember that I made that meeting? So everybody in Contoso is getting access to this meeting, okay? So that's where general comes in. Now, the other channels below general, we are going to want to make them departments in your organization. So, for example, okay, I'm just going to do this right now. I'm going to create I'm going to add a channel, and we'll go into this in just a minute when you're creating your own team, okay? So everyone's creating their own team. So let's say I want to have sales, okay? So as you can see here, I have my company, and then I have the general, which is always there, and then my first department is sales. Well, next department will be HR. Next department will be, operations, manufacturing, delivery, whomever it is. And what you want to do is then have everybody in that department accessing this specific channel to work together, okay? Because it's your collaboration. It's like your breakout group. The channels are like breakout groups, okay? But everybody in the master team can always go to general to see what everybody else is doing, or if there's like major announcements they need to have, they can go to general, okay? And as you can see here, if it is in bold, that means that you're missing something inside of that team. Okay, so we'll get back. I'm going to mark that one as unread. Let's see. I did that, not on red. Okay, I'll come back to that. So that is what the teams, the basic idea of teams. So you want to have departments, okay? And we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to actually have you create your own teams. Now, after you do your main team, okay, is now you want to have some projects. Okay, for example, you're working with 2 or 3 other members, and that's when you create a project team. And as you can see here, it's a good explanation. You see it says Mark a project team. Now they have 4 different places, right? That maybe the members of the team are working in to actually deliver on that project. Okay, so that's where the channels are regarding that. There's another idea too, is instead of doing sales in the channels, right? Let me just go ahead and create one more. Add a channel, and I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put in retail. Okay, so I'm going to show you the difference here. So, and we're going to have you once again create this in just a second. So, okay, do you see here how we have Contoso, we have general, we have retail and sales, right? I put these in one team. Well, the thing is, what you could do is just have your Contoso with general and then have an actual team with just retail. Okay, and then a team for sales and marketing. I think that this actually causes more called teams creep than the other one does. Okay, and Microsoft trained us to do it this way, but there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. Okay. So there's that. So what we're going to go ahead and do now this is the interactive portion. I want you to go now in this area where you see all the teams, scroll all the way to the bottom and join or create a team. So I want you to hit join or create. Then I want you to go over to this button where it says create team. So go ahead and click on that. Okay, and raise your hand or say something if you've fallen behind a little bit, because we want to make sure that everybody is on the same track.
Rebecca has a question on the chat for you, Sherman.
Oh, okay. Rebecca, go ahead. Or let me get to the. Okay. So Rebecca says we've had staff create projects. Can we easily recognize them to match this structure? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll show you, because there's also creating templates in the back end. Now they just rolled it out that you can create a template of a team that has 1, 2, 3 and the applications that are going to go into it. So yes, no problem. Okay, and Robert, you're good, right? Okay, so we're here at creating a team. Let's create the team. And then what I want you to do, just to take a look at these 2 buttons, this bottom button is creating from like a template, right? So we're not going to touch that. We're going to build a team from scratch. Okay. So now when you're building a team from scratch, that gives you 2 options. You can make the team private, which means that nobody in your organization can find it, locate it, or join it. Or you can make it public, okay, where everybody in your organization can view it. Now, this is nobody from the outside of your organization can view any of this stuff, okay, because you're not enabling that yet. My pro tip to you is not make a team private unless it really is a super secret project. Make the team public, okay, because then what we'll do is we'll tie down some of the channels inside the team to make those private. So let's give it a team name, okay. Zag CIE team. Okay, so I'm going to give it a name. That's my team name, and I can give it a description. Okay, I'm going to push create. Now, when it's created, okay, now we need to add members to this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I can just start typing names. So I know Alan DeYoung is here, right? I know Isaiah is here. I want to invite them to the team. I know Megan Bowen is here. I know who else is here? Help me out, team.
Don't forget Grady.
Grady's here. Grady's here. And then Alan DeYoung. I can put shift at. Let's see. Oh,
Christy
Alex
Klein.
Wilbur. Okay.
Christy Klein.
Oh, that's right, Christy Klein. How can I? Okay, Christy Klein, perfect. Okay, now as you can see here, I've added you guys. So I want you to add me. My name is Diego Siciliani. Okay, add me. But now, there's definitions between member and owner. You always want to have two owners, so that's yourself and somebody else. Okay, keep the rest members. We'll go ahead and close. Okay, awesome. So now you probably see that Isaiah added me, Christy added me to the team. All right, now I'm an owner. So Isaiah made me an owner. Okay, perfect. I'm getting notifications here. And as you can see on the left-hand side, because I'm now been, added to the team, I have the ZAG CIE team, I have the ZAG team, I got the Rebecca's team. Okay. We need to wait for Isaiah and for Christy, unless that's Christy Klein from ZAG. So I'm going to wait a few moments and see if we have any questions. Okay. All right, Alan or Isaiah, have you guys gotten a chance? I'm going to pause here. I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Do we have anybody that needs any further explanation or to be caught up? Okay, so let's go ahead and keep moving on. Okay, so now we're in the team. So the thing is, the neat thing is that when you open up a brand new team, it always takes you to general, right? And here we can add more people, we can create more channels, or we can open the FAQs, okay? So what we're gonna do here actually is we're gonna go back over to our team. I want you to click on the actual team name, okay? And then there's a little ellipses next to it, these three dots. I want you to click on that, and I want you to add a channel. So we're gonna add a channel, and we're gonna make the first one marketing, okay? And we're gonna leave it standard access. I want to push add, okay? So now everybody in that team can get to that marketing team. So one more, we're going to go up to a manage team. I'm going to put add a channel, okay? And I'm going to put this one, I'm going to put HR. But the main difference here is I'm going to lock it down. Oh, somebody already took it, HR. Okay, somebody already took HR. So I'll put HR channel, but I'm going to lock it down. Okay, I'm going to make it private, okay? Which means that the only people I can invite, okay, are going to be very certain people. So I can put in Isaiah, I can put in Grady, Christy Klein. I'm going to add them, okay? So now when I add them, and make sure you always have two owners, okay, just in case you go on vacation, right? Done. Now, what's interesting about this is over here, see how this says locked? Nobody else can see it, okay? Nobody else except the people that are actually invited to that. So HR obviously has things that they can't share. This is where you lock. It's better to lock them in this way as opposed to locking the whole team. All right. Now that we finished with that, now let's start doing, let's figure out what are we going to be adding to each channel that's going to make our life super awesome and really make it work. So what we want to do is go to your general tab, and on the very top here, you have general, right? It says general, and it says posts. So posts means whatever has been down here, right? Posts, y'all, okay? That's my, post to everybody in the company. Now files, let's take a look at files here, okay? So files, okay, very interesting. Okay, so there's a lot of really cool things in files. So what we're going to do actually here is we're going to go to new, okay, and we can actually create a Word document inside of files. Now, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Forms. Let's go, we're going to create a new one. So go ahead and create a new one on your side, and then we can put in CIE testing document, okay, create. And what happens is it opens up a version, a Microsoft Word version that's online, the online version, right? And I'm going to put in here, let's create a picnic list. Okay, so Okay, open sessions. Okay, and then we are going to close this out. But I guess well, you know what Grady's done is actually Grady, which is really cool, is collaborating with us right now. So I'm gonna show you that. So if everybody can go to the ZAG CIE team, go to General, go to Files, and then click on CIE Testing Document. Because now we're going to show you how we can work together on this document. Okay, so when you come in here, you can start. So the cool thing is that Christy's in here, Grady's in here. Now we're actually creating this document together. So like a best use case use scenario is we're on a call, we're talking about, and like, hey, let's go ahead and make some additions and edits to this document, right? From the same Teams meeting we're in. And frankly, you know, my group and my team, we use this all the time. You know, it's great. You know, we're working on a document that we want to get out and get everyone's ideas on. We actually do it like this. Another cool thing too is you can actually leave comments. My new comment right here would be, where is everyone who is supposed to contribute to the list, right? So then I can go ahead and push send. And what happens is you can see here, now we have a comment, okay, that's put in here. All right, so actually we got Alex Wilbur came in, so he's helping out, okay? So you have a comment, but you can also go into the conversation window and actually if you want to start a conversation with need more items for the potluck, right? And by the way, who knows if we're ever going to have a potluck ever again with this whole COVID thing. So maybe that's the wrong question there. So anyway, I just want to show you the collaboration piece of this. This was really kind of neat because you can actually work together on that. So let's go ahead and close that. And that's just basically the X button and the close button. So as you can see here, we have our document. So the other thing too, let me just help you think about this. Conceptually, why is this? So if I'm putting this file in this place and I'm saying, hey, John, you need to know where the testing document is, go to General Files, boom, there it is. General Files, boom. Okay, I want to ask the group here, if anybody would like to chime in and think, well, how would this benefit the way that they share documents in their organization? So maybe Joe or Robert, you know, thinking about, you know, how did we, you know, why would this be a good way of or a good place to store documents? What would you say, Joe, to that? Or do you have any input or advice about this collaboration tool?
Yeah, I would say the first thing for me, you know, that has helped just in general is eliminating ever sending attachments, so that you eliminate the concern of different versions of attachments, as well as the security of potentially having attachments leave your protected bubble of, you know, protected intellectual property. By setting this up with links to documents, you can manage access. You can have version control. You can find it more easily than digging through email sent items. It just makes everything so much more easier to find, efficiency wise, and it really helps eliminate confusion and lost time digging for stuff through attachment.
Wonderful. And that is a great explanation. That is actually best use case scenario. It is eliminating attachments. Or, you know, the way I like to look at it is somebody asked me where something is. Like, very simple. Go to the team, go to General, go to Files, boom, it's there. Okay. Cool thing too is we can upload documents, right? So we can do it from our desktop, right? CIE assets, I can go into here and I can just upload a document. And so what's happening over here is it's telling me it's uploaded the progress. Okay, cool. Now you have this, it's uploaded. Awesome. Okay. Now the other thing I want to talk to you about is that we had a question earlier about, you know, searching files. When we go to add cloud storage, we can go to your SharePoint, right? So I can click on SharePoint and I can add benefits, let's say, next. And then what it's going to do is put that in the documents folder. Okay, so now look at this. We have the benefits documents that was in SharePoint, okay, actually now synced to your Teams folder. Okay, so that's kind of a neat new feature there. And then I think that's all we need to do with files. So that's the file section. So
Sherman,
now,
question from Rebecca.
Yeah. Rebecca, go ahead. Or I'm sorry, let me look at the.
Yeah, so you're actually getting to it. I mean, I do agree, like that's nice having all the files there, but I also just spent a lot of time getting people over into SharePoint and set up with, you know, the tags and not using folders. And I know a lot of people have their files in other locations like Google Drive. So yeah, I was interested in how that cloud storage works.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, and if you see on the cloud storage too, right, we can add other places, right, to it. But you want to get people to start changing the way that they're storing things, right? And they're not storing it on their local desktop where you can't get to it. So, a good point. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Now let's go back up to the tabs area. Remember this tabs? So it works just like a internet browser. I want you to right click on Wiki. Okay, and I want you to remove it. Okay, right now Wiki just doesn't work very well. It doesn't have a search functionality in it, so it's worthless. Okay, so now what I want you to, after you did that, now we have a clean slate here. We post files, and I want you to hit the plus button. Okay, and what that means is we're now going to be putting some applications inside of this Teams environment. And the reason why we're doing that is we want to keep people's attention inside of Teams. We don't want them clicking out if they don't have to. So the very first one that I always like to put in here is OneNote. Okay, and I want you to click on OneNote, and then you can click on the default notebook and push Save. Okay, so now, as you can see here, we have a notebook. Is there any, Rebecca, do you use OneNote by any chance right now?
I don't.
Okay. Well, then we're going to help you see the value of it. So, in the past, OneNote was kind of it's a digital 3-ring binder. Great place to have your stuff because it saves everything to the cloud. It's notes on different things, right? But in this scenario, why OneNote works really well is because what if you're in a meeting in, let's say, HR, right, or marketing or whatever, and you're taking meeting notes. So you add a section, meeting notes, okay? And then you're going to title it meeting notes for today. Okay, whoops, what happened there? Okay, and then in here it could be picnic, sharing files, etc., right? Okay, so now we have that, right? But why is this good? Well, get this. So just the same way that we're telling people how to get to files, we can say, oh, hey, do you have the meeting notes? But we all can take the meeting notes right now together inside of this because it's in there, right? We can be doing it together. But the neat thing is now we have meeting notes or notes about whatever we're working on in one place where we all can go and find the notes on that. So we no longer are held hostage by the scribe for the meeting, right? The scribe will go in here and do this, and then we can all see it right after the meeting is over. That's why OneNote is great. You can also print your emails to OneNote. You can print and put attachments in OneNote, and it's got the best search functionality if you download it if you open it in your app. Okay, so super awesome there. Any questions on OneNote? Okay. So the next one, let's go back to the plus button again. So please click on the plus button. Okay. Now, when you click on the plus button, the next one we're going to do here is we're going to put in what's called Planner. Okay, so where is my Planner? There we go, Planner. Okay, so what Planner is, and the reason why we do this, and we want to name it something very specific. Okay, Planner. Okay, and then push Save. Okay, and the reason why we're using Planner is because it works much like Microsoft Project. Okay. And this is how we're going to reduce our emails again, because a lot of times our emails that we are creating, okay, are just a lot of like simple tasks that we're asking people to do. So instead of doing that, we can go in here and we can add a task. So let's put a task name to send me the TPS report. Okay. And then I'm going to set a due date. I'm going to have that due by tomorrow. And then I'm going to assign it. And I'm going to assign it to Alex. I'm going to assign it to Alan, Christy Klein. I can do it to myself, but Grady, Isaiah, and Megan. Okay. So I've assigned it, and then I add the task. So now what we love about Planner is that now that task is going to follow you everywhere. So you're going to, at the end of the night, if you haven't completed that task, you get an email saying you have unmet tasks to complete. Okay. Secondly, it'll give you a notification on your Windows taskbar. Okay. So now we have a task, right? That's assigned to it. Also, on your app, you'll get a notification. In Teams, you get a notification. So this really, kind of follows you around. So good idea to do. And then what you do is you just click on the task, right? You can set priorities, right? We can set a start time and a due date, right? Due date is 8/6, and I can put some notes in here. So send me the updated list, okay, of accounts, okay, in the TPS report, okay? And then I can put add item, because now I have a checklist. I want to give them a checklist. First, socialize with your peers. Check for errors. And then create a file that I can share with my boss and take all the credit. Okay? That's typically what a boss does, right? They do that. So you do that, right? You can add attachments, files into there, but you can also do comments. So why comments is actually cool is because let's say Megan is in there and she's done something. So Megan, right, she can type in, I completed, my end. She could put that in the comments. Okay, and as you can see down here, you can have comments with different people, especially if you're working in a group, right? So that's kind of cool. And if you want to complete it, you can just push the complete button up here, or we can give it a green. So we're going to give it a little green, and maybe we want to make it urgent. Okay, so now that's good, and then we just close it out. There's no save function. So now, as you can see here, we got a cool task. Now, what we typically do in an organization is we have it set up like this, because we're creating something week 2, right? Week 3. And we're doing this for our people to know that what they have to complete and get done is really, really important. Okay, so you have that. That is Microsoft Planner. Now, the next one we're going to add, go back up to the plus button. Okay, hit the plus, and I want you to click on website. Okay, so click on website. Now, we're going to name this, and this is the best use scenario, intranet. Okay, we all have an intranet, right? And we want to make sure that we give people the ability to, instead of having to click out of the Teams environment, they can access the environment directly from, let's see, Microsoft.com. What did I do wrong here? Okay, so there we go, and we can push save. Okay, so now what's interesting about this is basically, and this would be like your intranet site, okay, because you basically, it would be a tab that somebody can click on, and then they could then access. I just did Microsoft.com, right? So, but you can put different ones in there. You can do an intranet site. You can do your CRM, right? So maybe you have your CRM site in here, and we can just do another website. And then I can put in CRM, right? And then I can put in https. And as you can see here, so this is, for example, this was our CRM. This would be there, and it's just much easier to create. So these are the ones that we advise. That you put into every channel. Okay, so these are the ones that are going to really make your teams environment really sing? Okay, because there's productivity, you're keeping the attention of people inside, you're reducing emails, and now you're collaborating. But you're also, remember this, we're creating a new place for people to think about where they're putting their files and folders. Perfect. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause. I'm going to go back to our chat window. So everybody go to the chat window, okay? And I want you to let me know if we're good to go or if you have any questions. So Christy's good. Grady, are you good? Chris, Alex, Alan, Isaiah? Okay. Okay. So let's see, just want to get some interaction here. Anyone else can go to the chat window, please, and just go ahead and tell us you're good, and I'll get into calendar. Okay, we got the majority. We got the majority. So, all right, let's get back. Let's go into calendar. So I want you to click on calendar. Okay, so in calendar, it syncs with your Outlook calendar. And actually, you know, we're trying to get away from Outlook as much as possible. So a couple of cool quick features in here. You can easily just, you know, basically select the time, and then you can do your required attendees, right? You can do, and just like we talked about, we can put test, meeting, right? And then we can put it into a channel. We want to put it into Contoso, in sales, because he's in sales, that's what we're going to do. And then we can just push send. And as you can see in calendar, now my meeting has actually been very easily created and actually sent out to I think as Isaiah that was there. So that's really calendar. The other thing over here, there's a new meeting, and there is a schedule a meeting or a live event. And what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, I want to go into calls first, and then if we have time, we'll go back into live event. Okay, so this is the calendar function. Really easily, you can click on any one of these that we had created, right? And actually, when you open up that person, you can see the join Teams meeting or join, just kind of like you had it today on your stuff. Any questions on the calendar function? And I'll go to the chat window. So if there's any questions, please let me know. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screens. I want to talk to you about calls, but in a different context. When you click on calls, the default, okay, when anyone deploys Teams, default, you can call anybody inside of your organization, and you can create a meeting and send a link to anybody in your organization. It's not going to have a phone number, though, that comes with it. So what you need to do is you have to turn on what's called Teams calling with PSTN access, which means public switch telephone network meeting. So let me just kind of show you. I'm going to go back to my screen here. Okay, let me maximize it. So in my Teams environment, whoops, wrong one. In my Teams environment, this is my own Teams environment, we have a call feature here, right? And then over here, we have this thing called dial a number. Okay, why am I showing this to you? So what's the why behind this? So the why here is, what a lot of people don't know is if for, I think it's about $17 per user, okay, you can now turn on the PSTN calling and port all of your current numbers, so all your numbers stay the same, over to a voice over IP application. So now you're using Teams for all of your calling. So, and why is that cool? Because that also connects to your mobile app. So now your phone, you know, your mobile phone can use, you know, this phone number that is your phone number, right? So that's kind of neat. It's called a soft phone. So basically, you could also take your laptop, be anywhere in the world, as long as you have an internet connection, and then it'll look like you're calling from your 949 number or your 415 number or whatnot. Okay. Why I like this and why I think a lot of people should consider this is because if you take a look at the economics behind using this, it's much cheaper than using a regular telephone system. And what I mean by that is when you look at the total cost of ownership, the TCO of the telephone system, you have the cost of the PBX, right, the private branch exchange, and that can be anywhere between $6,000 to $12,000, right? Number two, you have to amortize that over the length of the contract, right, the life. Number two, you have to pay a maintenance fee on top of that, right? You know, for $300, $400 a month just to pay a vendor to be able to maintain your PBX. Number three, you have to pay for phones, and phones can be between $100 and $200 per phone, right? That you have. But then you also have to pay for your SIP trunking, and this is your voice trunking, right? That comes in. There's an infrastructure cost for that. That could be, you know, $400 to $800 a month, not including phone calls. Okay, so if you take all of that and you're really to kind of divide it up between the number of seats, you're probably paying in the event of around $39 to $42 per user overall. If you're using a Teams calling plan, you're getting everything, including Teams, for either, you know, anywhere between, you know, $20 a month, $20 a month, up to $39, depending on the different software things you use. However, it is a really interesting play right there. Now, if you're thinking, well, voice over IP doesn't work for large organizations, that's okay. It does though, because Microsoft uses it, and Microsoft has 168,000 employees, and nobody has a desk phone. But in the event that you have people that need a desk phone, no problem. You can still use this and buy a separate desk phone for them if they need to, but they'll find out quickly they'll hardly ever use it. All right, questions about Teams and Teams calling? Okay, very good. And then, you know, the last one here is you have, you know, files, and these are recent files that you'll actually see that you kind of just went to, and you can do Teams downloads and OneDrive. With that being said, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is just, you know, recognize that, mention that, you know, Zag is a preferred partner for Microsoft, and they have the ability to, they're actually paid by Microsoft to come out and do assessments and do design sessions for you. So the neat thing about looking at, you know, your environment, whether to implement it or implement, you know, phone, there's a program where we can nominate your company where Zag can actually, they'll pay Zag to come out and do that for you. So if you're interested in that design session or whatnot, please reach out to your appropriate account manager, and Robert, you know, he'll definitely help you kind of navigate that, but it's worth, you know, getting a meeting. Let's, you know, do a workshop or something like that. Also, there are going to be some opportunities for Teams training at scale. So with that being said, thank you all for attending today, and I'm going to pass it off to Robert to close us out. Robert?
Thank you, Sherman. That's wonderful. Before I wrap things up, last opportunity for anyone to ask any questions of Sherman and the team. Rebecca, I do see your hand up. I'm not sure if it stayed up. It wasn't put down previously.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's from before.
Oh, good. I always do that too. Look, the thing that I'm super excited about with regard to Teams is that it's starting to look like, or in fact, really is becoming a work day in a box, so to speak. As Sherman had highlighted today, you have the ability to create files, share files, Word documents, PowerPoint presentations, Excel files within Teams. You can access your calendar. And in fact, our marketing intern this summer has come on board. He is straight into Teams. He creates all of his calendar invites and so forth in Teams. I was having to have him do something that required him to be in Outlook. And he's like, how do I do that? Because he's just natively in Teams. And things such as Planner and all of the other applications and so forth means that with, obviously with some exceptions, a significant amount of our work, they can now be done inside one app. And as Sherman had mentioned, there is a lot of cognitive overhead having to flip between apps, find where files are. Were they in Slack, or was it a Zoom call? Was it in Google Apps? Was it an email? Teams are starting to solve for some of these issues, and as there's an expectation that we're more productive in our day-to-day, and that we deliver more and more for our organizations with fewer and fewer resources. Teams is starting, as I say, to look like a really interesting sort of platform to solve for some of these challenges. So I hope it was a fun and interesting session. I hope for those of you who are familiar with Teams already, that you perhaps learned something new. There was a pro tip in there that perhaps will help you. For those who are not familiar with Teams, I hope that you see some benefit in perhaps moving some of your day-to-day into Teams. The next steps from our side is Joe Foos, who is on the call. He will reach out to folks just to get some feedback, see how we can make this session better. We're always looking to improve, and also to see whether there's anywhere that Zag can potentially help you be successful with Teams or other aspects of your IT. So with that said, thanks, Sherman. Thanks everybody for joining us. Great fun session, and we look forward to keeping in touch. And thanks again, and best for the rest of your day.
All right, thank you very much.